Hey everyone, and welcome back. Today we're going to be doing a deep dive into something that could really impact your wallet.
Ooh, yes.
Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's announcement about temporary tax relief for
It's
Canadians.
definitely a hot topic.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of people talking about it. So we're going to be looking at two CTV news articles to guide us on this deep dive.
Okay.
So we can really break down exactly what this means for you. So
Sounds good.
what are we talking about here? What kind of tax relief is it?
Well, the government's calling it like a two-pronged approach.
Okay.
There's a one-time payment. They're calling it the Working Canadians Rebate.
Okay.
And a 2-month suspension of the GST and HST on a bunch of goods.
All right, so let's talk about that rebate first. $250.
Yeah,
Sounds pretty good.
it's not bad.
Who qualifies for this Working Canadians rebate?
Well, the eligibility criteria seem pretty straightforward.
Okay.
It looks like you need to have an income of $150,000 or less.
Okay.
And you have to have filed your 2023 tax return by the end of the year.
So if you just barely make it under that 150,000, you're good.
Yeah, that's what it looks like,
Okay.
according to these articles.
Interesting.
Makes you wonder why they chose that specific income threshold.
Yeah, why 150,000?
Yeah,
Hmm.
it's interesting.
Well, we can speculate on that.
Yeah.
But okay, so let's say I'm eligible. I filed my taxes.
Mhm.
What's next? Do I need to apply?
It doesn't seem like it.
Okay.
The government says they're going to deposit it right into your bank account
All right.
in April 2025.
Hold on. 2025.
Yeah, a bit of a wait.
That's like 2 years away.
It is.
What's the holdup?
Well, I imagine it takes a while to process all this.
Okay.
Especially if they're not requiring applications.
Right.
They gotta like cross-reference all this income data
Yeah.
and make sure the right people are getting the money.
Right.
It's a pretty big undertaking, I would imagine.
That makes sense. That makes sense. All right. So while we're waiting for that rebate to hit our accounts in 2025,
Right.
we do have this GST, HST holiday to look forward to.
Right. Exactly.
Tell me more about that. When does it start and what does it cover?
So it kicks in on December 14th.
Yeah.
Just in time for those last-minute holiday purchases.
Perfect.
And it's important to note that the HST only applies to certain provinces.
Okay.
So that would be Ontario, Newfoundland and Labrador,
Okay.
Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, and Prince Edward Island.
Gotcha.
Everyone else will see a suspension of the GST.
Okay. So for 2 glorious months,
Yes.
no GST or HST at checkout.
Pretty much.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
But what exactly are we talking about when we say a whole bunch of goods?
Right.
Is it just the essentials like groceries and medicine?
It's actually a lot more than that.
Okay.
The list of exempt items is surprisingly extensive.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Give me the goods. Spill the tea. What are we talking about here?
Okay, well, get ready for this. Restaurant meals.
Well,
Whether you dine and
no.
take out or order delivery,
Really?
they're on the list.
So you're saying I can treat myself to like a guilt-free
Yes.
donut run
Mm-hmm.
without the added tax?
Exactly.
This holiday is looking up already. What else is on this magical list?
Well, don't forget the drinks.
What?
Beer, wine, ciders, coolers,
Wow.
all tax-free.
All right. So no top shelf liquor,
Right.
but that's still pretty good
Yeah,
for those who imbibe and want to raise a toast
exactly.
without worrying about the tax man.
Right,
Okay. So just to be clear, this isn't just for the holidays.
right.
This is 2 whole months starting in December.
That's right. From December 14th to February 15th, to be exact.
Oh, wow. Okay.
The government is estimating that this will cost them $1.6 billion.
Wow.
A lot of money.
That's a lot of dough. But it
Yeah.
sounds like it could make a real difference,
Yeah,
especially with the holidays coming up.
for sure.
And you mentioned earlier that it goes beyond the essentials.
Yeah.
What other non-essentials made the cut?
Okay, are you ready for this? Video games,
Oh, wow.
consoles, controllers,
No way.
all included.
So you can deck the halls and level up your gaming
That's
experience, all tax-free.
Yeah.
This is incredible. It sounds like the government is really trying to provide relief
Mm-hmm.
across various spending categories here.
Yeah, it's not just about helping people cover the basics. It's about
I-
giving them a little breathing room to enjoy those little extras as well.
Okay, so big question.
Yeah.
How much could someone realistically save
Mm-hmm.
during these 2 months?
Yeah.
And we could talk in pocket change.
Right.
Or could this actually make a dent in someone's budget?
Well, I guess it depends on your spending habits, right?
Sure.
But let's say a family spends around $2,000 on eligible goods.
Okay.
During those 2 months, they could probably save around $100.
That's not bad.
Not bad.
And remember, those savings are going to be even higher in provinces with the HST.
That's right.
But let's get real for a sec.
Okay.
Is $100 really going to move the needle
Yeah.
for people struggling with the rising cost of everything?
That's a great question, and honestly, it's one that each listener is going to have to answer for themselves.
Right.
But I think it's important to remember that every little bit helps.
Every little bit counts.
Yeah.
That's true. Okay, before we get too deep into the weeds of potential savings,
Right.
let's talk about the nitty-gritty of how this all works.
Okay.
So businesses just magically know to stop charging GST, HST on December 14th.
Not quite magic,
Okay.
but it should be pretty seamless.
Right.
So businesses will be responsible for removing that tax at the point of sale.
Okay.
So when you go to checkout, whether it's at a restaurant, a store, even online, you should just see the tax removed from your total.
Got it. So no need to apply for anything.
Nope.
No rebates to claim later.
Right.
The savings are applied right then and there.
Exactly.
Super straightforward.
Yeah, they're trying to keep it nice and simple.
I'm loving this so far.
Good.
But we all know there's always fine print.
Of course.
What should people be aware of
Yeah.
before they go on a tax-free spending spree?
Well, first and foremost, it's important to remember that this is temporary. This tax relief ends on February 15th, so those savings won't last forever.
Right back to reality in February.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Anything else lurking in the fine print we should flag for our listeners?
Well, there's one more thing.
Okay.
This tax relief still needs to be passed as legislation.
Oh, so it's not automatic.
It's not automatic.
So there's a chance it could get held up in Parliament or even be modified.
Yeah, that's always a possibility,
Right.
especially with the current political climate.
Ooh, speaking of the political climate, this announcement seems pretty strategically timed,
It does.
wouldn't you say? With a possible spring election on the horizon,
Yeah.
this feels like a classic pre-election move.
Hard to argue with that assessment.
Right.
The timing definitely raises some questions about their motivations.
Let's dig into that political backdrop a little bit more after a quick break. We'll be right back with more on this temporary tax relief,
Sounds good.
including what the other parties are saying about it.
Okay.
Don't go anywhere.
It's definitely interesting to think about the political context here.
Yeah.
Remember the NDP?
Yeah.
They actually called for similar relief measures earlier this year.
Oh, that's right. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
So are they on board with Trudeau's plan?
It seems like they're supportive of the measures, but they are voicing some criticism.
Okay.
They're saying that this plan doesn't include any relief
Right.
on monthly bills like hydro or internet,
Yeah.
which was a key part of their original proposal.
So they're happy with the tax relief, but they think it should go further.
Yeah, basically, it's a
Right.
nuanced stance.
Yeah.
They're supporting the concept,
Mm-hmm.
but they want to see a more expansive approach.
That makes sense. Now, what about the conservatives?
Yeah,
I'm guessing they're not throwing a celebratory tax-free party over this?
you guessed right.
Okay.
Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre has been very vocal in his opposition to this.
Right.
He's calling it a 2-month temporary tax trick
Ooh.
and is criticizing the lack of relief on the carbon tax,
Right.
which his party has consistently opposed.
Okay, so we've got the NDP pushing for even more relief.
Yeah,
The conservatives calling it a tax trick.
pretty much.
This temporary relief is stirring up the pot politically.
It's getting people talking.
And this all plays into that potential election scenario.
Absolutely.
If the government faces pressure to extend the relief,
Right.
especially as that carbon tax increases,
Yeah.
it could become like a major campaign issue.
It could definitely become central to the whole campaign.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I can see that happening.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine campaign promises centered around extending these tax breaks.
Exactly.
It'd get heated.
It would get very interesting.
And that's where things get really interesting.
Yeah.
You've got this clash between the desire for short-term relief
Right.
and long-term economic strategy.
Exactly. It's a delicate balance.
It is, and it raises some important questions.
Yeah.
Is this temporary tax relief actually meant to help Canadians,
Mm-hmm.
or is it just a way to gain votes?
Right.
And what happens when the relief ends?
Yeah.
Are we just going to go right back to where we started?
Right.
Or even worse, with higher costs?
These are valid concerns.
These are the questions we need to be asking.
You do.
Because it's easy to get caught up in the
That's all.
excitement of saving some money.
Yeah, for sure.
But we got to look beyond the surface.
We do.
Think about the consequences,
Absolutely.
both intended and unintended.
Yep. It's all about making informed decisions.
Right.
Really understanding all the nuances,
Mm-hmm.
the fine print,
Yeah.
and the potential long-term implications.
You said it perfectly all right. So to recap,
Okay.
we've got this two-pronged tax relief plan.
Mm-hmm.
The Working Canadians Rebate, which is going to be landing in our accounts sometime in 2025.
Right.
And then we've got the GST, HST holiday.
Yep.
kicking in on December 14th.
That's right.
We know it's temporary.
Yeah.
It's not a law yet.
Yeah.
And it's got everyone talking.
Definitely.
But what does it all actually mean
Right.
for the average Canadian?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is. Will these savings actually make a difference in people's lives? Or is it just a drop in the bucket?
Yeah.
Compared to the rising cost of everything?
Yeah. It's hard to say for sure.
It is tough to say. But that's what we're here to explore.
We are.
We've got to weigh the potential benefits against the political maneuvering
Right.
and the uncertainty of what happens after February 15th.
Exactly. And like you said,
Yeah.
we always encourage you to go and check out
Yes.
the full articles.
Absolutely.
The links are in the episode description below.
They are.
It's always good to dive into that source material yourself.
Do your own research, come to your own conclusion.
Exactly.
Okay, before we wrap things up, there's one more thing I want to touch on.
Okay.
It's that list of GST, HST exempt items.
Yes.
I got to say, it's pretty extensive.
It is.
And it includes some interesting choices.
Some surprising things in there.
So let's break down some of those highlights
Yeah.
in part 3 of our deep dive. Okay, so let's have some fun with this.
Okay.
We've talked about the Working Canadians Rebate.
Yeah.
We've talked about all the ins and outs of the GST, HST holiday.
Right.
But what about these specifics, like what can people actually buy tax-free for those 2 months?
Yeah, this is where it gets interesting.
Okay.
Because the government has really gone beyond just, like the typical essential items list.
Right, babe.
They've included a really wide
Okay.
range of goods.
Give me the highlights. What stood out to you?
Okay, well, first off, prepared meals.
Okay.
Like salads, sandwiches, even party platters.
Really?
All of those are going to be GST, HST free.
So if you're not feeling up to cooking during the holidays,
Right.
or you need to feed a crowd, you can save a few bucks
Exactly.
on those pre-made goodies. That's pretty handy.
Yeah, and I think it goes back to that idea we were talking about earlier.
Right.
The government kind of wanting to stimulate spending across a bunch of different...
Right, different sectors.
Yeah.
Okay, what else is on the list? What else caught your eye?
Well, for anyone with a sweet tooth,
Oh, yeah.
this is great news. Cakes, pies, donuts, brownies, all tax-free.
Now you're talking.
Yeah.
I can already picture those festive dessert tables.
Exactly.
Minus the tax burden. It's the little things. You know?
It definitely adds to the holiday cheer.
Absolutely. Okay, what about drinks?
Oh, yeah.
Are we talking festive beverages too?
You're in luck. Beer, wine, ciders, coolers, all included in that tax-free holiday.
All right, so maybe not, the top shelf spirits, but
Yeah.
still, that's pretty good.
That's a pretty good selection.
For those who want to raise a glass
Right.
without worrying about the tax man.
Exactly.
All right, and last but certainly not least,
Okay.
got to talk about this video games.
Yes.
Consoles, controllers, they're all tax-free.
All included.
What a time to be alive.
It's a sign of the times, isn't it?
It is. It's not just about those basic necessities anymore.
Right.
It's about recognizing the value of leisure and entertainment.
Exactly.
And hey, with the holidays coming up,
Yeah,
who doesn't love a new game to enjoy?
for sure. It's definitely a strategic move, I think,
Right.
by the government, because this is obviously a sector that's been
Yeah.
booming, and this tax break could really further fuel that.
Absolutely. All right, so while we're all waiting for that Working Canadians Rebate to land in 2025,
Yeah,
we've got this 2-month GST, HST holiday to look forward to.
that's right.
Savings on everything.
Yep.
From holiday treats to video games.
Yeah,
It's a pretty exciting prospect.
it is, and it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out.
Right.
Will this truly provide the relief that Canadians are looking for?
Yeah.
Will it actually have an impact on consumer behavior?
Right.
And economic trends only time will tell.
Exactly. And that's the beauty of these deep dives.
That's what we love to do.
We get to explore all the nuances, the potential impacts,
Right.
the bigger picture. And speaking of exploring filler,
Yes.
don't forget to check out the full CTV news articles.
That's right.
We'll have those linked in the episode description below.
Okay.
Always good to dive into that source material yourself.
It is knowledge is power.
Knowledge is power. Absolutely.
The more we understand these really complex issues, the better equipped we are to navigate them.
Couldn't agree more. And hey, while you're down there checking out those links, if you're finding these deep dives valuable, why not hit that like button?
Yes.
Share this episode with a friend.
Spread the knowledge.
It's a simple way to help spread the knowledge and keep these conversations going.
Absolutely.
And if you want to stay up to date on all our latest deep dives,
Yes.
make sure you subscribe to Timely Trends and News.
We'd love to have you.
We are always here to break down the news that matters most to you
That's right.
with a healthy dose of curiosity and critical thinking.
We'll be back next time.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We appreciate you tuning in to Timely Trends and News. Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and keep questioning.